Hey there, welcome in, gamers. Much love to the Magic the Gathering players. Travis here bringing you MTG of the day number 8, rocking Living End for the second time. Magic learning Magic backwards and forwards. Gonna keep this one. So we played with Living End yesterday and we won, and I wanted to come back and play with it today. I haven't made a rule. I made a rule that we can't move on. Oops, I shouldn't have cycled that now. Whatever. Start off with a minor misplay. I made a rule that we can't move on to a new deck until we win in order to not quit or be disciplined, whatever way you wanna look at it. But there isn't a rule that if you do win, you can't come back and do the same fun thing. So I've changed nothing, and I've come back with Living End, same list as yesterday, and we'll look at the deck once we Pale Recluse to search through our deck. But I've also been thinking about how to modify this deck to play extra cards. I'm thinking that 60 might be this Violent Outburst, which is Forest Cycling, gonna get an Overgrown Tomb. Yeah, so basically this deck, as we're about to see, doesn't want to draw a Living End. It wants to cascade into Living End. Drawing it depletes the library of resources, so the more cards, the less likely we are to draw Living End. We are less likely to draw our best card, Violent Outburst or Demonic Dread, but there's trade-offs, and I think that it might be worth going over 60. It's definitely worth trying. I played as many as 90, but I've liked 66 a lot as well. This list only has 60, so if I choose to come back again tomorrow with this deck, it's likely to have more cards. So some of you have been asking for new crazy brews. The truth on that is I just don't have a lot of creative energy to put into that. I've been channeling my creative energy into that for... This is interesting. I've been channeling my creative energy into building decks for years, and that was a good way to sell Magic cards, but I don't get paid from selling Magic cards anymore, and I also don't think it's the most useful thing I can do. We're just going to lead into our question of the day. So instead, I'm trying to be helpful, more helpful, which requires really channeling my creative energy in a different direction. Interesting. Channeling my creative energy into... See if hopefully the opponent misses a land. Instead, I'm channeling my creative energy into new types of content, more useful stuff, and just trying to, we've got a lot of... Ooh, that was interesting. I think I should have maybe I should have cycled the Jungle Weaver, invite the opponent to play a Vendilion Click so that we could have untapped and Demonic Dreaded. So anyways, there will be some new brews, but on the daily basis, I've got a catalog of 60 existing decks, and they can get tweaked, they can get updated, they are crazy, they're not necessarily new, but my intention is to... Okay, what is this? Kadama's Reach. My intention... Okay. Oops, I should have already played Violent Outburst right now. Playing poorly here. Yeah, that was bad. Because in response, the opponent only had 1 mana. But instead, and I think we're maybe against Scapeshift as well. Well, that works well. So we could play Violent Outburst right now. Let's just do that. Okay. Rewarded. So yeah, there will be new brews, but I'm focusing on being more helpful, which leads into the question of the day. If you've been new in here or you're watching, Every day I have a question, sometimes simple, sometimes complicated, sometimes magic related, sometimes not. And today's question is something I've been thinking about, which is drawing meaning. We might die to Scapeshift on this turn. And this is drawing meaning from your work. So what I mean from that is we have to work to make money, and generally we want to be helpful. We would try to be helpful. Sometimes it's more obvious than in other times. So, I mean, for instance, interesting. For instance, so we do a Fulminator Mage to destroy a land. It would have been nice to outburst in response, because I think would we have lethal this turn? 9, 12, 16, yeah, I think so. Okay, Cryptic, we want to give him the Valakut. Either Cryptic and Scapeshift are basically the same and are going to hose us. 4, 5, 6. I guess I'm going to give the opponent Scapeshift before Cryptic, but first a Valakut. And then we're going to destroy one of these lands. Destroy the red land. I think the black's in there for Bring to Light. So, for instance, I've worked, volunteered, and caretaking, and that's really obvious of, okay, I'm being really helpful to a few people, and that's rewarding. Alternatively, I've worked like behind the counter, and then that's much harder to figure out how I'm being really useful and helpful. Or I've worked as, server, sales, stuff like that. And then now I'm just playing a game. However, I'm trying to use the game as a fun kind of educational platform. That's my attempt, at least, so that's how I give it meaning. It's like, to me, this is not just a game. Cryptic. I think we would have won if I had outburst in response, but a big part of this series as well is learning from experiments, making mistakes, and continuing through them, and coming back tomorrow when necessary. 3, 4, 5, 6. Demonic Dread. This Living End is really hard to play. If anything, I should have even held on to a Jungle Weaver so we could cycle it now, and then Demonic Dread for a third Living End to get Fulminator Mage back to destroy Breeding Pool. Because as it is, the opponent is 4, 5, 6. If they have a 7th land, then Scapeshift is going to kill us. But, yeah, I think that the problem is that Fulminator Mage is too slow, so the winning play is actually hoping the opponent doesn't have a land. There's 2 minor misplays here. Okay, so lots of trying to balance like 3 different conversations. Discipline, confidence, continuing to play, making the most of situations. That's done. That's behind us, and we have games 2 and 3 ahead of us. But the question remains of, and you don't have to share this in the comments, what are you doing? What is your work, and how do you give it meaning, greater purpose, something? Because, I mean, for instance, I've been looking at various business models. I went to business university. I've had internships. I've worked for different businesses. I've studied different business models. I know how some other stuff works, like say affiliate marketing or phone sales, where you just sell a bunch of stuff to people. And I've chosen Magic, what I'm doing now, because it's easier for me to give it meaning, even though it doesn't necessarily it's not necessarily going to make me rich or whatever. Search for tomorrow. Interesting game. Scapeshift's a tough matchup. I would have liked to win game 1, because otherwise it can be very difficult. the way that Scapeshift works is search your deck for sack any lands, search your deck for lands, and then shoot the opponent for damage. So we'll see what the opponent can do. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They've got 8 lands, so they can, if they can't kill us, then the deck's been seriously misbuilt. But we'll just give them a moment to show us. So I have played Scapeshift and Living End in the same deck before, and actually liked that a lot. Borrowing Scapeshift from Luis Scott Vargas. Yeah, I don't have the Scapeshift anymore. Otherwise, we'd maybe try that tomorrow. Okay, so the opponent sacrificed a bunch of stuff. They sacrificed 3 mountains. They need at least 6 mountains for this to work, which means they need to play at least 9 mountains, and yeah, that's enough. Still think that we would have won if I had played Violent Outburst in response to Kadama's Reach. But again, it's not that productive to keep going back to that. So, Avalanche Riders and Ricochet Trap is the best we can do. I'm also somewhat interested in Gnaw to the Bone as a life gain, because the more life we have, the harder it is for the opponent to kill us. If we have over 18 life, for instance, they need 7 lands, so that is small but makes a difference. So I think that I'm going to play 61 cards here. Go down on Demonic Dread because it can be hard to cast, but we still need Cascaders. Go for it. Now if you have one of those jobs or business models that I mentioned, I'm going to go ahead and keep this. Yeah, I said you don't have to post it, but I am curious how you give it meaning, because that's something people struggle with at times. I mean, I even have problems with that sometimes, so I think it would be useful for people to see that how you give meaning to your work. I shared mine. It's a way for me to platform to educate. I mean, I feel like, yikes, 2 living ends. I feel like me, the person, Travis, I am so unique that I'm almost obligated to be in front of the camera or in front of the microphone, just because no one else can say exactly what I would say. I mean, maybe I'm wrong and I should just get the fuck out of the spotlight, but I have that feeling at times of like obligation, even, like, because some people chase fame and really like fame. For me it was, and I'm not going to say that I'm famous outside of Magic, but inside Magic, you know, I get attention. That was never the goal. That was just means to it's just necessary in order to help like tons of people potentially later on, for a bunch of people to know you. But yeah, I mean, at this point I could kind of disappear, or I could, but I just feel like that's not the most helpful, meaningful thing I can do, right? Get where I'm coming from? Meanwhile, this matchup is likely to end in a loss. Maybe we should have cycled the Deadshot Minotaur right then, because we might have drawn a Fulminator Mage, which we would want to cast. Or maybe we should have suspended Living End right then, even. Probably should have. I might go back and do that on the next turn. It's a Demonic Dread. Could cast that. I'm gonna cast it. Like, we've got nothing going on. We're probably gonna get remanded, but maybe we get mana leaked. Maybe we get Mana Leaks and the opponent's got nothing going on. Mana Leak, come on. Negate. Alright, well now we have all 3 living ends. And this is why tomorrow, or whenever the next daily MTG is, I might do some kind of helpful when to, how to type thing. I've been calling them how to videos, but they're really when to videos. They're about context, pros and cons, options. Yeah, back with maybe another when to video. But now that we're losing, part of the rule of this game is to come back and try again. So that's what I'm gonna do, and suspend this. This is such a weird deck. That's what we're gonna do, and probably with extra bonus cards. So yeah, for those of you who have made it all the way to the end, if you found this useful, if this has stretched your thinking, if this is a helpful service, if you have been following for a long time and gotten a lot of value, or followed for a short time and found this helpful, this Magic Learning channel is really dependent on your support through Patreon. There's a little info button link in the top right and the top of the text below, and we offer lots of bonuses back, moderate a closed group, email list, you can get the ebook program in there, and there's also one-on-one coaching through that if those are things you're interested in, at whatever level you're comfortable giving. But just keep in mind that this is, I don't have a card store sponsor anymore, it's all of you. So and I'm poor as hell right now, but I'm gonna keep doing this for you regardless. But the sooner that I can comfortably pay rent and food, the better, and the sooner I can stop with these pity me endings. But again, I'm not asking for your money, I'm offering rewards. So go ahead and check out those rewards on the info button or below. I'll see you tomorrow, and living end 60. Going crazy. And I'm gonna be back with a few deck adjustments. I'm gonna just play some extra cards, so that should be fun. And I'll see you tomorrow. Much love.